All right, so today we're going to talk about why you need to stop. And I mean, you need to actually genuinely stop eating for taste. Whoa, 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 food. No, go on here. Many people, they only eat for taste, and that's why their waist is 40 plus inches. They're hella overweight, type 2 diabetic, insulin resistant. All these problems are because you fundamentally eat for taste. See, once you recognize that food is full, becomes very easy to eat the same meals, eat whole healthy foods with more than, only one ingredient are very little. But it's crazy how we can eat. It's crazy. You go to Chick-fil-A, and I think the mac and cheese has like 52 ingredients. And when you really think about that, people are probably eating Chick-fil-A multiple times a week. I don't think a lot of you understand generally how cooked most people's diets are. And that's not even getting to the science, of the constant insulin spikes. They're not exercising, so it's more like to get stores fat, like all that stuff. I don't have to even get into all that. But when you think about how often someone has a cheat meal, or funny enough, it might not even be a cheat meal. They might just consider their diet. Oh yeah, I just go to McDonald's multiple times a week. That's my diet. I don't like the word diet because usually when people the diet, it's like temporary, so we're not gonna do all the time. But eating this way, eating whole healthy foods, hitting your protein goal, it's till you die. It's not just when you feel like it. That's what a lot of you don't understand. You see, you still think it's when I feel like it. Just like working out, when I feel like it. So you'll go one day a week, and then you won't go for 2, 3, 4 weeks. Then you'll make up a bunch of excuses. I'm busy, so I can't work out. Yet there are people that work 60, 70 hours, and they still make time to work out. So there's really no excuse. And if you're making excuses, your standards are just too low. Because I'm telling you, if you're around people, whether in person or on community, and they're all really locked in, you start to recognize there's no excuses. See, once you find out what actually the bar is, now you know, okay, it's either I meet that bar or I'm cooked, but there's no going backward. So now that I intuitively understand the bar, if you drift far from people, it is what it is. Their standards is too low. Nothing wrong with that, but your standards are going to get higher and higher. And it might cause some people to drift apart, and that's okay. But you just got to raise your standards. Because the more I think about it, this shit's not hard. I just got to hit my protein goal, eat whole foods, and I get rewarded by doing this, by feeling better. You don't need caffeine. Funny, most of you watching probably need caffeine just to get through your day. I can wake up, hit my workout, come back, have my post-workout meal, and I can go the whole day, draw work, no problem, good energy, without needing caffeine. And it's really simple. I just eat whole healthy foods. My diet's locked, and I get consistent sleep. A lot of you are probably looking for this magic pill, this solution. That shit's not real. It's really just getting adequate sleep, hitting your protein goal, and actually working out consistently. You can get into the whatever about the workout split or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. You could do low volume, high intensity. You could do high volume, low intensity. Doesn't really matter. As long as you're consistent and you're progressive overloading, you're going to be good. You'll still make gains. But see, what most of you don't get is the diet is actually, if anyone knows like the 80-20 rule or Pardio's law, or Pareto, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but pretty much, 20% of your inputs are going to equal 8% of your outputs. There's like this inverse relationship. You might wear 20% of your shoes 8% of the time. You interact with 20 people. If you had to quantify it, 20% of people you spend time with make up 8% of the whatever. But with the diet, that's the 80%, So if you're really trying to see results, you have to put it into the diet. You cannot skip that step. I think a lot of us just want to skip that part, but you really can't. Like there's no way around it. If you don't lock in the diet, there's really no point in you working out. And a lot of you, that's going to go over your head. But honestly, it makes more sense to stay at home and goon. Well, not literally, but there's really no point in you working out because a lot of you like you think you're working out, you think you're locked in. You're not. I'm telling you. Once you figure out the bar, you're gonna realize, damn, I wasn't as locked in as I thought. But see, that's not a bad thing because that's motivating. Okay, now like, oh, I can take this so much further. It's like when Rock Lee took off the weights, fighting guard. We're like, oh shit, now I can actually move. I know what the actual minimum standard bar is for fitness and diet. And it just opened my mind. Okay, wow, like, this can be taken so much further. But you just have to be consistent, very consistent. So you have to make it effortless. If you're thinking about what to eat or, oh, I want crumble for taste or whatever, you're going to be cooked because it's too much variety. It's too much friction. It's got to be easy, effortless. I already know what I'm eating tomorrow and the day after and the day after. It's very simple. It's very intuitive, simple to replicate. A lot of you wake up, oh, I don't know what to eat today. You're already cooked, already cooked. If you wake up and think, oh, I don't know what to eat today, like you're already cooked. You've already lost the battle because you don't know what you're eating. So I already know what I'm going to eat tomorrow, and boom, keep it simple. So it's one lesson to think about. I can focus on something else. Same thing with the gym. Oh, I don't know when I'm going to work out. What's the workout split? You don't like just pick a split and follow it. It's not, you don't have to do this and that, change up every 2-3 weeks. Pick a split, follow it for a couple of months. You should be good. And here's another thing too. You have to retard max, something I'm starting to do more. That's why I've been posting more of these videos. You don't have to know everything. Just start doing. With the gym, just go to the gym. If your diet's locked, you're going to make gains even if your form's wrong. But now, of course, your form needs to be somewhat accurate because you don't want to injure yourself. Because injuring yourself is like the worst thing you can do. I think my journey has been very successful because I haven't been injured. And I know people that they might have more muscle than you, but they've been injured. So it's like, you just got to be consistent, avoid getting injured, hit your protein goal, keep the nutrition locked for a really long period of time. I'm talking about 8+ years, bare minimum 5. I wonder, it's interesting. I've never thought about it, but I wonder what how many years till you reach your natty peak, if there's a natty ceiling, which I don't really believe in. I think you'll just find out more and more ways to keep pushing yourself for more muscle, push yourself, whole David Goggins, mentality. So I don't really believe in there's a natty limit, and once you have to hop on tests and all this bullshit. Oh, that's another thing. Oh my God. Anyone, if you're thinking about taking like these steroids and all this nonsense, have you been lifting consistently for 10 years? If the answer is no, don't do it. Like it's not that deep. You just want the gains too fast and you don't want to put in the work. It's just not supposed to be easy, and it's supposed to be a lifestyle. So once you can ground your expectations with that, it gets a lot easier to be consistent because it's a part of the process. But it's more so a lifestyle. Okay, so it's just a lifestyle. You have this mindset, you do these actions, and then reflect, and you be muscular, lean, shredded, whatever. And you just keep doing that. It's this infinite cycle. Because I'm telling you, I might have to make a rant video on it, but the whole GOP and the peptides and all this bullshit, because people want to lose inches off their weight. And oh my God, it actually fucking irritates me. There are people, they're doing that shit and they don't even work out. They don't even work out. Oh my God. It's actually, and if you know they're not working out, their diet's not locked. So what the fuck are they doing? Like, that's how everyone looks for these shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. You just have to do the work. Like, there's no shortcuts. And it's really frustrating because you see it every day. I see it at work all the time. They'll be talking about it. I'm like, Jesus, like actually cooked. But they won't work out. Or the constant snacking. See, if you're a snacker, man, I don't see. Maybe you could be actually, no, I don't think it's possible, but I'm still get on the journey to getting lean. But I don't see how you're snacking 5-6 times a day and you're lean. I don't, because at that point you're snacking for taste because you're bored. So a lot of you just put the fucking fork down. Like a lot of you're bored, so you eat. Like you have to really think about it. I'm bored, so I eat. Like damn, lock in, please. Dear God, lock in. It should never get to that point where you're eating. for taste like that, or you're bored, so let me eat. And then it's gonna be bullshit. It's not like you're bored, so you're gonna cook up some eggs or ground beef, some chicken breast, chicken thigh, salmon. None of that. You guys aren't doing that, so it's like, why? If you're bored, I guess Starve Maxim would be better in that case. But it really just depends on where you're at in the journey, how locked in you are. Because for me, it was liberating, but also motivating. Like, wow, okay, I wasn't as locked in as I thought. So you can push it so much further. It's like Goku learned about God. You're like, oh wow, there's a whole new realm of shit, and even Ultra Instinct, and then the levels of that. Like, there's so much levels to this fitness stuff. There's so much levels, but you have to develop the base first of just being consistent, getting your diet locked. Then you can worry about the supplements, optimizing your hormones, all these other things. All of that will come later, but you just have to lock in. But you cannot eat, right? Especially if you're a dude. Like, I'm sorry, it's really some bitch if you're eating for taste. Like, if you could barely see your fucking, or you look down, you can't even see it because your gut's poking out, and you're eating the taste. Like, come on, like, lock in, please. Lock in. Like, it shouldn't get to that point. And this is where you have to understand that your standards are just that low. But some of you have these really high goals, but your standards are so fucking low. I've seen it firsthand. You have people talking about, oh, I want to do this and do that. They can't work out consistently. They can't have the protein goal. You have to treat these things as the most important because they're going to build your base. You have no merit, no reps of being disciplined. The gym, SR, hitting your protein goal in the diet. This is how you build that base. That will bleed into other aspects of your life, but you cannot skip this part. You cannot skip it. Too many people, you just want the money. Of course, I want the money too, but I know, like, there's no point in getting it if my waist is fucking 50 inches and I'm 400 pounds. Or you're just so locked out where it's, you're just not confident. Money isn't the end all be all, but if you generally lock in, I understand now, on these other things, the money is going to come. So I don't worry about it. But now more than ever, I have to really stress the importance of you have to lock in. You have to lock in on your nutrition. You have to lock in. If anyone's got any questions, comment away. As I make these videos more and more, I can start to delve more and more into nutrition, because I get it. Nutrition can be pretty complicated because there's so many different perspectives. This is why you need a good base. I recommend everyone just understand some basic biochemistry. Learn what gluconeogenesis is. Because a lot of you, and this might blow your mind, you don't need carbs, but that doesn't mean I'm not saying not to eat them. Like, I eat carbs, but once you recognize you don't need carbs, you're going to fundamentally view them as a tool, not something you just have to eat. But once you learn some basic biochemistry, you understand insulin sensitivity, how one actually becomes diabetic, glucagon, glycogen. Like, once you understand these basic terms, you don't have to have a PhD in biochemistry. But once you understand these basic things and how they function, it's going to help you kind of pick a diet based off anecdotal experience and what you believe in your goals and stick with it. Because the more I learn, the diet, yeah, of course it matters. But at the end of the day, whether you're carnivore, vegan, whatever, everyone agrees whole foods, avoid the minimally processed stuff, avoid the product. Like, we all agree on that point. What people disagree with is the amount of carbs, if you need them or not, and then protein, where that's red meat, chicken, whether too much or too little, whatever. Those are the only really different nuances with the diet. But of course, you could argue about that, and as you learn more and listen to different people, you're gonna say like, wow, it's pretty nuanced. But if you're eating whole foods, you're tracking what you're eating, it's going into your body, and you feel good on a day-to-day basis, because you can audit yourself. But see, many of you, you're so used to feeling like shit that you don't know what it is to actually be healthy because you haven't been doing it long enough, which is really crazy. See, me, I'm so to my body, I know if something's off. And maybe it's a combination of SR just being locked in, but it's really good. If I get sick, genuinely, within the same day, I can like feel my body healing it. It's crazy. Like, you'll go from you're sneezing a little bit, and then later in the day, you stop sneezing. Then you might wake up next day with a slight sore throat, but then you're good to go. But many of you, it might be multiple weeks. Because most colds, they actually last multiple weeks. But the Tylenol and all those bullshit medicines, like massive symptoms. But it's for multiple weeks that your body's like inflamed, fighting it. I learned. That's why I don't highly recommend don't take Tylenol and all that bullshit. Let your body just fight it naturally. Don't need medicine. Or take some natural herbs or whatever. Natural remedies. Just don't take any medicine. Highly recommend don't take any medicine. Because there's a lot of like this bullshit things out there. See, for me, let me tell you how you know when your diet is locked, you're gonna go into the grocery store. Like I'll go to Aldi or I'll go to Whole Foods, and I'm in there for like 5, maybe 3 minutes because I'm really only going to either get salt, some ground beef, some eggs, and like a couple other things. Like it's very quick. If you have to walk around the supermarket for 20, 30 minutes, you're not locked in. What the fuck are you buying? If you're buying just whole foods, maybe you'll go to the dairy section, the cheese, you get your protein, and boom, that's it. That's why I love eating this way because it's so simple. And maybe I could talk about that another day too. The whole animal-based diet, or whatever. I think there's other names, but animal-based diet. But that's how you know you're locked in, because it's so easy to protein goal when you just eat a bunch of animal products. It's very easy. You're also gonna feel a lot better too. You'll sleep better. There's too many fucking benefits for you not to be locked in on your diet. And I'm telling you, you have to. This is where the ego really holds some people back, because at the end of the day, if you're locked in, it'll show. If you're fat, you're not locked. I don't care what you think. It's just subjective reality. We're not locked in. And this is why it's important to track, even for me, because I was eating whole healthy foods, but I have a very high metabolism. I'm lean, I'm tall, so it was fine. But once you start tracking calories and understand how much calories someone needs to maintain their weight, you're gonna be like, damn, they're actually a big back. You're not even like, see, a part of you wants to cope and think they're not a big back. No, that bitch is a big back, bro. I'm telling you, because if she's 200 pounds and 5'4", she's basically an NFL linebacker. Well, for her to maintain that weight, that's like what, fucking, I don't know the conversion. I mean, that's like what, 2,600 calories, I think, 25? That's a lot. That's a lot of fucking food. So you're like, holy shit, she's eating that every day. This is why, if you just move more, that helps too. But this is why you work out, because if you work out, it's going to increase, your metabolic rate, your TDE or whatever. All those things get increased. So it's going to help you, not, be cooked. And another way too, like just really take your height, take your waist. You can look up the ratio. But once you learn that, you're going to be good. You're going to be good to go once you learn that. I forgot the exact ratio. I think it's like 0.16 or whatever. But it doesn't really matter. But once you learn that ratio, if it's skewed or cooked, then boom. Or you have to lock in. But the easiest way is basically definitely going to be your waist. And also if you look down, if you can see your gut protrude out, probably a sign that you should lock in. So I'll stress, lock in on the diet. Start with the diet, and then add the gym, and then you progressively overload those things. I don't expect, a lot of you might just be starting your journey, so I don't really expect you to be able to eat the same foods I eat. Because if you saw my diet, I'll probably make a video someday, but if you saw the things I eat, you'd be like, there's no way. I can't do that. Oh, I can't have the crumble cookie? I can't have the Wingstop? Well, I can't fucking go out to drink? Nah. And it's okay if you want to do those things, but just recognize you can't. That Greek god physique you want, you can't get it doing those things. You can't have both. You cannot have both. A lot of you want to eat for taste and then look like a Greek god. It cannot be both ways. You cannot have it both ways. So you have to pick. You can pick either. You can pick for taste. That's fine, as long as you're content, with that outcome. But if you're only eating for taste, you're cooked. You're cooked. Look, there's no point in working out, because you'll never hit your protein goal. Because you'll have one crumble cookie, and maybe you'll order McDonald's. So you have McDonald's, then you'll eat crumble. So you'll be at like 3K calories, but your protein may be under 60 grams. Cooked. Already cooked. At that point, why even work out? You really have to take the diet seriously because that serves as your actual base. If you don't hit your protein goal, don't work out. Like I don't think I'm gonna say that multiple times. If you don't hit your protein goal, if you're not, especially if you're skinny, that's even worse. You already know how hard it is to gain weight. So if you're not fucking hitting your protein goal, why the fuck are you going to the gym? It makes no sense. It genuinely makes no sense. Stay home. Stay home and doom scroll on your phone or goon. It would be better for you to do those things than to work out because you're not hitting your protein goal. You're hardly eating as is. So what's the point? You might as well stay at home. There's no point in doing it unless you take the diet seriously. That serves as your base. It's really, honest, maybe even 90%. Because if your diet is generally locked in, you're gonna put on muscle. Even like just moving weight, especially if you're in newbie, beginner gains phases. If anyone's a little younger, but especially if you're younger, take the diet seriously. Don't take years like most people realize. Oh, the diet's the most important thing. If you do that during your newbie gains phase, man, your lifts are actually gonna probably like every other session you're hitting the PR. And you could do that point even later, years down the line. You just have to, your recovery has to be really locked in. So that's why if your recovery's locked in, you can get away with hitting the gym 5-6 days a week. But most of you, your recovery is so cooked. 6 days, well, your standards are too low. So the idea hitting the gym 6 days, you're like, oh, I don't have time. Of course you don't have time because fucking you're on your phone. But once the standards get high, you're like, okay, I do have the time, but damn, sure my recovery's cooked. Oh, I don't have my protein goal, so I don't really get my good sleep. Maybe you get 5-4 hours. I say if you're not tracking, you don't know. You're cooked. Get a watch, get a ring. I have this Oura ring here, but find some way to track your sleep so that you can see. Ideally, bare minimum 6. Of course, you want to do more than the bare minimum, so I'd say 7 to 9 hours of sleep. You'll be good. Take some magnesium before you sleep. Boom, you'll be locked in. But this is why you cannot eat for taste. Please stop eating for taste, especially if you're a dude. Please, I need you to lock in. If you're 5, let me think. If you're 5'10" or shorter, and you weigh more than me, you might be cooked. Unless you're got hella muscle and you're like shredded or maybe on trend, but you might be cooked. So go to the fucking gym, keep the diet dialed in, and hit your goddamn protein goal, please. And that's a wrap. Stay locked, boys.